Picture this, you're stepping into a grand ballroom in the heart of Victorian England, an epic of exploration and scientific discovery. The air is thick with mystery and exotic allure, not unlike the entrancing civilization of ancient Egypt. The obsession known as Egyptomania reigns supreme, sweeping across Europe and America, fueled by riveting archaeological findings and grandiose tales of pharaohs and pyramids. The Victorian interest in Egypt, however, was not confined to scholarly pursuits. The Victorians elevated their Egyptomania to unprecedented heights. How, you ask? By hosting extravagant mummy parties. These were not your run-of-the-mill tea parties but grand spectacles, with guests garbed in their finest Victorian attire, gathered around a genuine mummy sourced from the heart of Egypt. The room would fall into a hushed silence as the mummy was carefully unwrapped, revealing the ancient remains within. The first recorded mummy unwrapping soiree dates back to the early 1800s, credited to a man named Thomas Pettigrew, a surgeon and antiquarian. Known for turning his mummy unwrappings into public spectacles, he garnered the nickname Mummy Pettigrew. These gatherings were an intriguing blend of entertainment and enlightenment. On one hand, they were social events, an opportunity to flaunt one's fashion and status. On the other hand, they catered to the Victorian thirst for knowledge about the ancient world, offering an intimate experience with history itself. While modern sensibilities may find this morbid, for the Victorians, it was the pinnacle of their era's excitement, embodying their fascination with the unknown and exotic. So, the next time you believe your gathering to be unique, remember that Victorians were literally unwrapping centuries-old mummies amidst a grand social spectacle. Mummy unwrapping wasn't just a private affair. It was often a public spectacle, drawing crowds eager to witness the ancient and the unknown. Imagine a scene right out of a Victorian novel, a grand parlor filled with society's elite, their eyes wide with anticipation as the age-old linen wrappings are slowly peeled away to reveal an ancient Egyptian mummy. These events were not just about unveiling the mysteries of the past, they were also about satisfying the scientific curiosity of the day. The 19th century was a period of rapid scientific discovery. Theories about evolution, geology, and archaeology were transforming the way people understood the world. Mummies offered a tangible connection to the past, a way to touch history, and thus became the centerpieces of these gatherings. Interestingly, the unwrapping of mummies wasn't always conducted by trained archaeologists. Often it was the work of showmen who spun elaborate tales of curses and ancient rituals, adding a touch of the macabre to the event. This pseudo-science was part and parcel of these unwrapping parties, adding an element of drama and excitement. But at the core of these spectacles was a genuine desire for knowledge. Attendees hoped to glean insights from these ancient remains to decipher the secrets of the past. The mummies were examined, measured, and sometimes even tasted, all in the name of science. Yet it wasn't all serious. There was an element of fun to these gatherings as well. Unwrapping parties were indeed parties, complete with music, food, and plenty of conversation. It was a bizarre blend of science and entertainment, a testament to the unique spirit of the age. In the name of science, or perhaps just morbid curiosity, these parties became a societal phenomenon. As we delve deeper into the history of mummy unwrapping parties, we'll uncover more about the famous and infamous attendees, the medical misconceptions that were rampant, and the ethical issues that eventually led to their decline. But that's a story for another scene. Even celebrities of the time couldn't resist the allure of mummy unwrapping. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes, was one such notable attendee. The world of literature and mummy unwrapping parties intersected more than once. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the mind behind the world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes, was drawn to these events. In the early 20th century, Doyle attended the mummy unwrapping party of Lady Mu, an eccentric and wealthy socialite known for her unconventional interests. As the bandages were slowly peeled away, revealing the ancient secrets of a civilization long past, even Doyle, a master of mystery himself, was captivated. These events weren't just social gatherings, they were steeped in superstition. Attendees often whispered of curses that would befall those who dared to disturb the eternal slumber of the mummies. These eerie stories added an extra layer of intrigue to the parties. Yet, they didn't deter the curious minds, including Doyle's, from attending. One such story circulates around Lady Mu herself. After the unwrapping event, it's said that she experienced a series of unfortunate incidents, leading some to believe that she had been cursed by the mummy. While it's more likely that these were mere coincidences, the rumors contributed to the mystique of these parties and the belief in the supernatural power of the mummies. And it wasn't just Doyle and Lady Mu. Other famous personalities of the time also found themselves drawn to these events. They were fascinated by the mystery, the history, and perhaps even the thrill of potential danger that came with unwrapping a mummy. These parties were a reflection of the era's fascination with the exotic and the unknown. They were an expression of a time when the boundaries of science and superstition were blurred, and when the thrill of discovery outweighed the fear of the unknown. It seems that even the mind behind Sherlock Holmes was not immune to the mystique and intrigue of these macabre gatherings. The mummy unwrapping parties weren't all fun and games. They came with their share of medical misconceptions and sparked ethical debates. Let's delve into some of these medical misconceptions first. In the 19th century, there was a widely held belief that mummies had medicinal properties. Yes, you heard that right. Mummies were not just objects of curiosity, they were thought to have healing powers. This belief was so strong that mummy parts were actually ground up and used in various medicinal concoctions. For instance, mummy powder, known as mumia, was believed to cure everything from headaches to stomach ulcers. Unbelievable, isn't it? Now you might be wondering, where did this idea come from? The roots of this misconception can be traced back to the Middle Ages, when the bitumen, a substance used in the mummification process, was mistaken for a rare and expensive healing compound. Over time, this misunderstanding morphed into the belief that mummies themselves had curative properties. However, as medical science advanced, these misconceptions were gradually debunked. By the 20th century, the use of mumia in medicine had largely fallen out of favor, and the mummy unwrapping parties began to be seen in a new light. This brings us to the ethical issues. The unwrapping of mummies for entertainment purposes sparked debates about the desecration of ancient bodies. Critics argued that these bodies deserve respect and should not be treated as mere objects of curiosity. These concerns eventually led to changes in how we approach archaeological findings today. We now strive to balance scientific discovery with respect for the cultures and individuals we study. As we can see, the mummy unwrapping parties were not just about entertainment, but also about raising some serious questions on ethics and respect for the deceased. Like all good, or in this case, strange things, the trend of mummy unwrapping parties eventually came to an end. The allure of the exotic and the promise of the unknown gradually lost its sheen as the public began to view these parties with a more critical eye. Let's explore how this peculiar page of history was turned. The craze for mummy unwrapping parties was not to last forever. As the 20th century dawned, public sentiment began to shift. The same thrill-seekers who once reveled in the spectacle of unwrapping an ancient mummy started to see the practice as less of an exciting diversion and more of a desecration of another culture's sacred remains. Indeed, the tide of opinion was turning, and it was turning fast. At the same time, the field of archaeology was beginning to come into its own. The new generation of archaeologists saw mummies as precious historical artifacts, not party props. They advocated for the respectful treatment of these ancient remains, arguing that they should be studied scientifically rather than ripped apart for amusement. This newfound respect for the cultural heritage of other civilizations played a significant role in putting an end to the macabre trend of mummy unwrapping parties. The final nail in the coffin, so to speak, came with the realization of the potential health risks posed by unwrapping mummies. When it was discovered that some mummies carried ancient diseases that could still infect people today, the public was quick to abandon the trend. The thought of catching a 3,000-year-old case of tuberculosis was enough to dampen even the most enthusiastic partygoers' spirits, and thus, the bizarre chapter of mummy unwrapping parties was closed, leaving behind tales of fascination, horror, and a whole lot of bandages. These parties may be a thing of the past, but they have left an enduring legacy. A reminder of the strange and sometimes unsettling ways in which humanity's curiosity can manifest itself. From public spectacles to private parties, from scientific curiosity to ethical debates, mummy unwrapping parties truly were a unique phenomenon. These events, once the height of social and scientific gatherings, brought together luminaries like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. They fueled the public's fascination with the mysterious and macabre, while also raising questions about medical misconceptions and ethical concerns. In the end, though, these parties became a thing of the past. So, next time you're thinking of a party theme, Remember the mummy unwrapping parties, but maybe stick to piñatas instead. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you would like more content like this video.